TD Bank in Canada came out and they said something. It says, "We enter short spot silver anticipating a dramatic reversal in prices as silver's devilish blow-off top comes to completion." They entered a short position in silver futures first week in January, and they betting that the price would fall towards $40. But they placed stop losses at $92 to limit losses if the price went the other way. Last Friday, they were stopped out of their trade at a big loss, and they're massively short. So through rhetoric and through their own actions showing the public this is what we're doing, well, they tried to push the market lower and they got hammered. And you look at it again today, it was down when I woke up this morning. Both gold and silver were way down. Gold was down 50, 60 bucks, and now gold is up 85 bucks and silver's up $3. We are at, holy moly, we are at basically almost, over $96.50 on silver and almost $5,000 on gold, $49.20.
That's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
It is crazy, and it continues to move high. Every single month for the past 15 months, 16 now, we've seen record demand or deliveries into COMEX. In the month of December, the December delivery contract for silver, 68 million ounces were delivered into COMEX. So someone stood for delivery to 68 million ounces. That's the largest December delivery in the history of the COMEX. Another 3 or 4 million ounces of gold on top of it. You're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. So far in January, which is a non-primary delivery month, we've already seen roughly 40 million ounces or more of silver delivered. So in the last 45 days, you've seen 120 million ounces of silver delivered into COMEX. Don't tell anybody.
That's right.
And 5+ million ounces of gold. But this is every single month. And I've been saying that on your show every single time. Who's doing it? Not a word by the mainstream, not a word by the independent journalists or the financial media. To me, it is the biggest story. Hundreds of billions of dollars being brought into the United States in gold and silver by people who do not do it for the hell of it. And at that level, they know where this is going, and that's why the deliveries are all that matter to me. It's true. It's just all that matters to me, because these people at that level doing billions and billions and billions do not do this if they don't know where it's going ultimately. The wealthy have gotten exponentially wealthier because they have the ability to take the cheap money that has been abundant at zero interest rates for all these years and put it into assets that have gone parabolic. So that's the K-shape. The wealthy get wealthier through appreciation of assets, as the poor get poorer, because inflation, which they lie about and say is only 3%, but we know it's closer to 10 or 11% according to shadow stats. It's harder to put food on the table, drive to work, just keep it all go together, where the wealthy don't care about that because their assets have gone parabolic. And I don't know the exact number, but the top 1%, their wealth has increased by like $11 trillion in the last year or two. So that's through these types of policies, which it is too stupid to be stupid. But you look at the World Economic Forum type of mantra where, you'll own nothing and be happy and you'll rent. Well, that's what you're creating, an entire nation of people who just can't barely keep it together financially. Look at AI coming in to create maximum efficiency at the expense of millions and millions of jobs. So the wealthy get wealthier and the poor get poorer. These are all things that, God willing, if Trump is able to bring back manufacturing, is able to create more of a mercantile world, he admits that the globalist thing doesn't work anymore. We need to focus on our future in this country. And I think that's what this all boils down to. And it's not easy when you've created through this gaslighting of the country a massively divided populace where half of the country becomes radical, like in Minnesota. That was Little House on the Prairie and Mary Tyler Moore, and all of a sudden we are the center of nuts. Now,
that's because of the people we have here,
Yes, I know. Well, and the point is, why has no one been thrown in the hoosegow yet? And I hope they do. I hope they get perp walked right down Hennepin Avenue. All of them. Who's delivering it? Who's paying for all of this? And maybe the people at that level want to reposition before they let all of the people that we're all talking to get it. Now, the people that we're talking to all have gotten it for a long time, and but the rest of the crowd. I mean, you talk about the S&P 500 up 19% or so last year in the face of the greatest AI tech boom in the history of the stock market, maybe next to the advent of the internet, and gold eviscerated it up 70%. So that's what, three and a half times better performance. And silver up 150%. Well, you're talking 7 times the performance, and not a word about it. And at the same time, any journalistic integrity at all would say, who the hell for 15 months has been bringing all this into COMEX where
That's
this
right.
never happens? So yes, it's been going on that way forever. And for whatever reason, gold, I guess, and silver are the antithesis of the system. And even if the system was in the midst of a reset or a transition, and there were white hats at the helm, the white hats need to transfer too. They need to reposition. Whoever it is that is doing this and not letting the information out, I don't know, is it the good guys trying to allow themselves to get in a position to make this country strong? Or is it the bad guys wanting to hang on to, to the old system? But the very fact that gold and silver are not spoken about on the mainstream is absolutely pathetic. Van Eck funds, which is, that's not James Rickard saying 24,000. That's not Mike Maloney saying 10,000 gold. Van Eck funds is a mutual fund company. And I want to read something to you real quick. It says, what if, this is written by Van Eck, okay? What if gold replaced the US dollar as the reserve standard? Now, my view is that these countries, and even when Lutnick says we're moving away from globalism to mercantilism, that means everyone uses their own currency and trades with one another through their own currency. But so my feeling is that gold will replace the treasury, the reserve portion, not the dollar won't die, but in terms of what people hold their reserves in across the globe, it will be gold. So they say, what if gold replaced the US dollar as a reserve standard? In this paper, our emerging markets bonds team values gold by matching central bank money liabilities to reserves, implying a $39,000 to $184,000 per ounce price. I'll get to just the highlight. If they use M0 is the monetary base that everything else is built on top of. It's the dollar. It's cash in the system. It's immediate cash in the system. It's the base money supply. And if it was M0, liabilities divided by gold reserves equals $39,000 per ounce weighted by daily FX turnover. Using M0. It says central bank M2 money supply liabilities divided by gold reserves equals $184,000 per ounce. And I'll just read this last piece. It says using global M2, where we have a global series unlike for MO, we calculate the global price of gold that equalizes M2 is around $100,000 per ounce weighted by daily FX turnover for our sample. The gold price that equalizes M2 is $184,211. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what have I been saying on your show forever? I think they're going to, as Judy Shelton told me, back the back end of the bond market with gold. So if you sell someone a 30-year treasury that's redeemable in gold with zero interest, well, that means you can bring back manufacturing at zero interest. You need to pay the holder of that bond $30 million in gold. At today's rate, let's say $5,000, what's that, 6,000 ounces? So you need 6,000 ounces to pay that back today. But what if it's 184,000 in 10 years or 8 years, whatever that is? So you take 30 million divided by 184,000. Now you only need 163 ounces instead of 6,000 ounces. So if you let the price of gold go higher, and relinquish the reserve standard, not only do your pegged bonds, you have to barely give any gold up from today to then, but the rising gold devalues the dollar, and that's how you sell stuff to the world. That's what everyone has done to us by devaluing their currency against ours. That's Triffin's dilemma. I think this is what he wants, and the mechanism to it is through the Genius Act, by allowing. Because right now, the interest on those treasuries when money moves is not transferable. They're putting it into gold. Tether owns $14 billion in gold already, the largest position in the world outside of central banks. The more gold goes higher, the lower the dollar goes. the easier it is to sell manufacturing. And if you can bring it back at 0% borrowing like this, well, heck, that's fantastic. And then if you have to pay 16,000 ounces, or 6,000 ounces rather today, but you let gold go up to the number that Van Eck says, well, it's only 163 ounces in 30 years or whenever that number is. So I don't know, it seems to be happening. And I just think if you save in dollars, you're going dead. You're going to go broke. You need to be in assets. And whether that be gold and silver, I don't care. You need to be in assets. This is the time to not be overloaded in US dollars, that is for sure. The gold price is showing you that. This is going to be a big story. That's all I can say to you. It's going to be a very, very big story. I believe Tucker Carlson is going to come out and talk about this. He was offered $25 million by one of these companies. Now, how the hell does that happen? And, you know, I think that, and I believe that it's going to be something very big. And the bottom line is simply this, is that when I started talking about this on your show, on Mike Adams' show, who, by the way, was offered $1 million a year to do this, and he said that publicly, so I can say that. I had no idea that it would have the legs that it has, but it's been 2 years now, and I get dozens of people every day sending me, and they're all so sad and embarrassed and frightened. Right. And we tell them what they can do. We tell them what their stuff is worth, and it's a big deal, Sarah. And God bless you for having the courage to say it. And we've done it professionally, you and I. We haven't outed anyone. These companies, unless they get thrown in jail, and I hope they do, the way that they continue to do this to people is when the reason they focus on IRAs is because the people are older, typically. They may not be as tech savvy. They're not going to look at their online statement maybe as much, and then some of them, God forbid, die, and their heirs take it over, have no idea. But the 1 or 2% who bitch and say, "What did you do to me? I'm going to ruin your career. And go nuts." Well, they make them whole, and they do it appropriately, but they're made to sign something saying, well, you can never say another word about us again, and you have to retract your negative review. And so they're free to continue to do this what is, in my mind, ridiculous white-collar crime. And I've tried to do my part, and I'll tell you some things when we're offline that I wish I could say right here, right now, but all I can say to you is it is real. And that's something that I probably hold my hat upon. And I know we talk about it a lot, but the number of people that have heard us talk about it is startling. And I'm proud to say we've helped a lot of them. And, what goes around comes around.